The first thing that reached me was the light harsh, sterile, and much too bright to belong anywhere near my home. It pressed against my eyelids like someone was trying to pull me awake with force. My body felt heavy, unfamiliar, as though I had borrowed it from someone older and more worn. When I managed to shift slightly, a cold metal railing brushed my arm, and suddenly everything snapped into place. I was in a hospital bed. I didn't remember arriving. I didn't remember falling. My head throbbed sharply, and a deep ache pulsed through my left arm. When I tried to lift it, pain carved a line up to my shoulder. Dark bruises peeked through my gown like shadows trying to tell the story. I had forgotten. Before I could gather my thoughts, I heard a voice on the other side of the curtain, too familiar, too bright to belong in a place like this. My son, Evan. He wasn't worried. He wasn't concerned. He was laughing. Yeah, my mom's here again. She's such a problem. Always falling, always panicking. A young woman giggled, the soft, flirtatious kind that feeds a man's ego. Evan took the laughter and pushed it further, louder. I basically raised myself. She's helpless, honestly. Each word carved deeper than my injuries. I lay there motionless, listening to him describe me like I was a burden he'd been forced to carry. I wanted to call his name, let him know I was awake, make him see me, but shame held my breath hostage. When the laughter faded, the curtain finally pulled aside. It wasn't Evan, it was my neighbor, Grant. His face was tense but relieved. "Lillian, thank God you're awake," he said softly. "You fell down the stairs. I heard the noise through the wall. You weren't moving. I called for help right away." His voice filled in the empty spaces I was too afraid to acknowledge. I had fallen. I had been unconscious. And the person who came for me wasn't my son. It wasn't family. It was a neighbor. After Grant left, I dialed my daughter-in-law, hoping she might care. Her voice sliced through the speaker. "What now?" She snapped. "Ela, I'm in the hospital. I fell." "Then stay there. Stop dragging us into your drama." She hung up without another breath. I stared at the dark screen in my hand, feeling something cold begin to settle inside me, not physical cold, but the chill that comes when you realize the people you love most have turned their backs without hesitation. But the worst part wasn't waking up alone. It was discovering that the fall that nearly ended my life was only the beginning of a truth far more devastating. The discharge nurse explained everything with the tone of someone who had repeated the same instructions hundreds of times, but none of her words stayed with me. My mind remained tangled in the memory of Evan's laughter. My own child, my only son, had spoken about me like I was dead weight hanging around his neck. By the time I was released, the sun was already beginning to set. Grant insisted on driving me home, ignoring my polite protests. "You shouldn't be alone after a fall like that," he said, steady but gentle. His kindness struck me harder than my injuries. How had a neighbor shown more care in one afternoon than my own family had in years? When we reached my house, he carried my bag inside and paused at the doorway as though he sensed something I didn't make. "Sure you rest," he murmured. "And Lillian, if you need anything at all, just knock on my door." After he left, the silence in my home felt heavier than ever. I walked toward the kitchen, each step slow, cautious. A faint scent of burnt oil clung to the air. My daughter-in-law's failed attempt to help with dinner last week. She had left the mess for me to clean, sneering that I had nothing better to do anyway. My hand brushed the table and something felt off. Papers were scattered everywhere, bills, insurance documents, envelopes I didn't recognize. I shuffled through them, confused. I always kept everything neatly sorted. At the bottom of the stack, I found a form with my name typed across the top. My breath caught. It was a power of attorney document. The signature line was blank, but the date next to it wasn't. It was 3 days from now. My heart pounded. Evan had brought this up a month ago. "It's just paperwork," he had said. to help with the bills. You're getting older. Mom, you need someone responsible handling things. Back then, I told him I needed time to think. His face hardened at my hesitation, but I didn't expect this. I forced myself to sit down, my legs trembling. This wasn't help. This wasn't care. It was control. Quiet, calculated control. Every word I had overheard in the hospital twisted through my mind with new meaning. She's helpless. She always needs something. He wasn't venting. He was preparing a story, building a case, convincing people I was incapable. That night, I tried calling Evan, no answer. Then I tried again. Still nothing. I left a message, my voice thin and cracking, telling him we needed to talk. I didn't receive a call back. Instead, the next morning, my doorbell rang, and when I opened it, I realized everything I feared was about to come true. Standing on my porch was not Evan. It was someone far worse, because the person at my door held the papers that could erase my freedom, and they insisted I sign them immediately. Someone else was involved, someone more dangerous. And the very next day, I discovered who had been pulling the strings behind Evan and why they needed to take everything from me before I could speak. The next morning arrived with a strange stillness, the kind that makes the air feel heavy before anything even happens. I moved slowly through the house, my bruises aching, my mind replaying every detail from the past 2 days. Something deeper was unfolding, something bigger than Evan's careless words or Marla's pressure. I just didn't know how deep it went yet. Around noon, I noticed movement outside my window. At first, I thought it was Grant checking in again. But when I looked more closely, my heart dropped. It was Ela, my daughter-in-law. She wasn't coming to see if I was okay. She wasn't even pretending to care. Instead, she was walking around the side of my house, peering through windows, checking the locks, even testing the back door handle as if she owned the place. I stepped onto the porch. "Ela, what are you doing?" She spun around, startled. Then her expression twisted into a smug, satisfied smile. "Evan wanted me to see if you were home. We don't want you wandering off again." "Wandering off? I'm in my own house," I said, stunned. "I didn't call you. I'm not lost." Ela crossed her arms. "Look, you're not thinking clearly. It's obvious. Evan's stressed. I'm stressed. We just need you to cooperate so things can settle down." Cooperate. There it was again, the word that tasted like imprisonment. "I'm not signing anything," I said quietly but firmly. Ila's face darkened. "You will, whether you want to or not, because we're not dealing with your stubbornness anymore." For the first time, she wasn't playing the polite daughter-in-law. She wasn't pretending. She was showing her true face, and it terrified me. She stepped closer. We need that power of attorney, Lillian. We can't fix our finances without it. I froze. Your finances. She blinked, realizing she had slipped. Forget what I said. Just sign the papers. Everything clicked at once. The sudden urgency. The pressure. The way they painted me as confused and helpless. This wasn't about helping me. It was about saving themselves. I stepped back, my heart pounding. Get out of my house. She glared at me, but for once I didn't look away. Finally, she stormed off, slamming the gate behind her so hard it rattled. Shaking, I locked every door in the house. Then I went straight to Grant's home. I needed answers. I needed someone who wasn't trying to take something from me. When he opened the door, he looked exhausted, almost guilty. I was coming to see you, he said quietly. There's something you should know, something about Evan, and the debt he's hiding. My breath caught. Debt? What kind of debt? Grant swallowed hard. They're desperate, Lillian, and when desperate people want money, they're capable of things you wouldn't believe. Before I could respond, we both heard it. A car screeching to a stop in front of my house. Evan. And this time, he wasn't alone. Because the person who stepped out of the passenger seat wasn't family, wasn't a friend, but someone who had the power to take everything I had left.